I just finished watching the Pacers beat the Nuggets 125 to 120, and I had some more thoughts on the best player on the planet, Nikola Jokic. As I was watching the game tonight, the Nuggets remind me of the fridge bits that the Atlanta Braves do at all their baseball games. So basically, what happens is they'll pull like a random fan out of the crowd and they'll race this guy named the fridge around the warning track, the fridge, bigger guy. And he'll kind of jog to start. And then once the fan gets like a third of the way through, he'll take off in a sprint. And he usually catches whoever he's chasing. And he wins because despite being huge, the fridge can absolutely move. It's really impressive. And whenever I watch the Nuggets, I get the exact same impression. Nikola Jokic is the fridge. He's this, once again, he's the best player in the world. Tonight, he had 41 points, 15 rebounds, and 13 assists. And it wasn't enough to beat the Pacers, who didn't have Pascal Siakam, their leading scorer, who, by the way, is having a career year. You could argue it's the best year of his career. And when I watch the Nuggets, I can't help but think about the fridge in Atlanta, because when you watch the Nuggets play, it is the exact same experience every single time. The fourth quarter starts and the game is close. Maybe the Nuggets are up by a possession or two. Maybe they're down. Either way, the game is usually close. And as always, Nikola Jokic starts the fourth quarter on the bench. He sits those first 4 minutes, and then he comes back in, and they're down, usually by somewhere between 6 and 11 points. Tonight, they were down by 7. So he comes in with 8 minutes and 4 seconds left, and then it's the whole fridge bit in Atlanta. It's, hey, Jokic, can you catch the Indiana Pacers, who are now up by 7? But, oh, by the way, you only have 8 minutes to do it. And it is just the most frustrating thing in the world. And whenever they flash to Jokic on the bench as they're slowly blowing a lead that he's helped build, or, the lead is growing as he's sitting down, he just has this look of pure annoyance. And maybe that's just his face, because sometimes that's just pretty simply the way that he looks. But it's so frustrating. And at some point, the Denver Nuggets have to figure out how to rebuild this supporting cast, because it's just not good enough. And they are, once again, I know I've said this before, they are wasting the best years of one of the best basketball players that we have ever seen. Nikola Jokic is an all-time player. The question is whether or not he's going to win enough championships for common people to recognize him as such. And you look at their roster, and it's just the most frustrating thing ever. They're 30th in the NBA in three-point attempts. And it's not because they don't generate a ton of good looks. With the way that Jokic is scoring the basketball this year, teams are doubling him more. And, as we all know, he's a great passer, and he's able to spray it out to three-point shooters whenever they're open. He does it all the time. Happens all the time. The issue is the Nuggets have all these guys on their team that aren't not bad three-point shooters, but they just don't look comfortable shooting the ball from three. And so they attempt the least amount in the NBA despite the number of great looks that they generate from three. They're 27th, by the way, in three-pointers made. They're 4th in the NBA in three-point percentage, and that's just because NBA players don't miss open shots. They just don't. It's just the reality of it. Also, part of why they're shooting, the 4th best percentage from three in the NBA is because Nikola Jokic is shooting 42% from three. He's a large part of why they're shooting the basketball so well from deep this year. And when you go through their roster, they really only have 2 guys shooting the basketball from three that legitimately scare you. One of them is obviously Michael Porter Jr. shooting 40% from three on the year. The other one, Jamal Murray, shooting 40% from three on the year. And then you look at all these other guys and you look at the percentages and you're like, that just doesn't add up. I don't think of them as this level of a shooter. And it's because they aren't. Aaron Gordon shooting 45% from three this year. The issue is he only takes 3 threes a game. The elite shooters are guys like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. who are shooting 40% from three on 6 attempts a game. And then you look at Christian Braun, who's shooting 40% from three on the year, but he only takes 2 attempts a game. By the way, Christian Braun should be in the conversation for most improved player. He's gotten so much better from last year to this year. Jalen Pickett shooting 40% from three on the year, only takes 1.5 threes a game. And there's another guy in here that I didn't mention that I'm missing here, but that is okay. Never mind. I didn't miss anyone. So 3 of these guys that are shooting the ball well in the year, like, they're just not taking very many because 'cause they're not great, comfortable three-point shooters. And that is something that the Nuggets have to find when you go back to that team that the Nuggets won the NBA Finals with. They had a bunch of guys who could step out and not only shoot it, but they were very comfortable taking like 5 or 6 threes a game, and they really lit it up to a point where Jokic didn't really even take threes that year. It wasn't because he wasn't able to; it's because he didn't have to. So like once again, like they're wasting the prime years of Nikola Jokic because in a time where the easiest thing to find in the NBA is shooting, the Nuggets don't have enough of it. And like when you look at their team, and then you go through the rest of the Western Conference, how do you pick them to beat a lot of these teams? I mean, like I look, they're not better than Golden State. They're not better than Minnesota. Like, Minnesota, if they match up with them in the first round, Minnesota's going to give them all sorts of issues. The Lakers, they're not beating the Lakers. They're going to be like plus 20 in those 8 minutes that Jokic is on the bench because they're going to have LeBron and or Luka Doncic on the floor at the same time. Seriously, like when you go through the Western Conference, they could probably beat Houston because Houston doesn't have a real go-to guy. They can maybe beat the Clippers. They can probably beat, the Grizzlies, and then the Kings and the Mavs. I don't even think that they need to be mentioned in this, even though they're going to make the playoffs. But like that's it. Like the Grizzlies and the Rockets would be the only teams that I can confidently say that I can picture the Nuggets beating at some point in the playoffs. If they even match up, we don't know how the seeding is going to go still because things are crazy. And once again, in an era where it's easy to find shooting, Denver doesn't have enough of it. Insane. That just shouldn't even be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. And it seems like these problems that they have are so easy to solve. Like, just go out in the offseason, find a center because they need a backup center who can block shots and catch lobs better than DeAndre Jordan. That is not hard. They should be able to do that immediately. They should have done it last year, this last offseason. And then go find guys who can shoot the ball. Like that is not a hard thing to find. The hard thing that they're going to struggle to find is another good wing defender, but they already have an elite one in Aaron Gordon who can guard the opposing team's best player. Just go find guys like Max Strus who can hold their own on the defensive end of the floor and can make open threes. That is what Denver needs. There are tons of guys out there who can do that. Just go get them and stop wasting the prime years of one of the best basketball players we have ever seen. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to check out the video. Make sure you subscribe. We're doing videos all through the NBA playoffs. I'm probably going to start hyping up the NFL draft coverage here soon as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. So if you're an NFL fan, I'm going to be covering all that stuff as well. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch the video, and I'll talk to you again soon.